right-wing doom? It's Worth It: How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And of course, good morning to the world, receiving our signals via the magic of el Internet, created by whom? We the people, created by you, now controlled by the billionaires. A lot that we have got to take back, that belongs to us, that belongs to the commons, but commandeered by those who simply stole it. Anyway, without further ado, let's go to El Estudio, where we are in the presence of our geniuses, El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jacques Van Beba.
Give me that internet, man. Fork it over.
Fork it over.
You don't need it. It belongs to me. I want it.
Yes, yes.
Well, it is Friday morning at the radio, the 9th of May already, 2025. And let's see, what do we have going on here? I have no rants today because I've been busy. Haven't had a chance to fight with the MAGAs on Facebook, with the exception of, when are they going to bring charges against Trump? They're going to do it because, look, this guy needs to be charged. He's disobeying court orders. I mean, when did the Supreme Court order him to get that guy back? Last month?
True.
He hadn't done anything? Not a thing?
Not a thing.
It's in El Salvador. I can't really do anything. You can do it with one phone call, Jack. So, oh, sorry, Jack. You can do it with one phone call and get that guy back here. And they did block his Alien Enemies Act. You can't deport people under that now. They said, no dice, bro. So anyway, Jack has a full page of wisdom and is probably wiser than what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and get to it.
All right. Wise us up, Jack. Good morning, Jack. How you doing, my brother?
All right. I'm doing okay. All right. Medicaid cuts will kill rural hospitals, says CEO Kevin Stansberry. Trump's NOAA will stop tracking costliest climate disasters. These are policies that will kill American citizens, and they are designed to kill. Because it looks like to me they want to kill the old, the poor, the weak, and the sick, because they cut into healthcare profits and they see these groups of people as unviable and a drag on their systems of profit. So the billionaire death panels want to let them die of neglect. Now Trump will stop NOAA from tracking the climate disasters. This will put human lives at risk, because if they're not tracking the disasters, they can't plan for the future. Hence, more human lives lost, not lost, but written off. We are moving towards a disaster economy where lives are written off and the profit is made off of rebuilding the disaster and cleaning up the mess.
We all know the end game.
The end game of capitalism.
Well, that's what happened over in France, too, if you remember that, the French Revolution. And there's been other revolutions. Let's see, what was it? The Bolsheviks. They decided that was not going to be their way of doing things. So we may see an American Revolution in the next 20 years or 30 years, somewhere in there.
It is on the horizon. We don't know how soon, but it has to happen, because when people no longer have anything to lose, they don't have anything to lose and they react. People are people, and doesn't matter where you are, we all react the same way. We're all human beings, and that's when the human in us really come out. But anyhow, thank you, guys. I want to start this way. Jack, I'm going to start with NOAA, but I'm going to do it in a sort of a roundabout way. Welcome aboard, LBW, MX, Leon Armstrong, Margaret Meyer, Shelley Land, Deborah Toothmaker, Barbara Shervish, Angelo, Annalie, Austin, Catherine Sesson, Erin Logan. If you want me to call out your city, state, please let me know that. That is from our Substack group. And our regular folks, we have Lisa Blair, who is from Atlanta, Georgia in the other chat. Now, I want you to hang with me here, and I don't want to bore you, but I want you to understand the entire concept. Whenever you hear somebody say we are at end state capitalism, you'll hear a lot of economists like Richard Wolff, etc., explain what end state capitalism is. First of all, I've mentioned before many times. Here was our Econ 101 class that they won't teach you in Econ. Welcome aboard, A Golf Twitler from Mendocino, California. Good morning. This is what I want to point out. End state capitalism. The model that capitalism is based on is a model of growth. It has nothing to do with heart or democracy or any of those things. China is our second largest capitalist country in the world, and it's definitely not a democracy. But what it shows is an autocratic capitalistic system is a much more efficient system than a democratic capitalism system, a capitalist system. That doesn't mean I would want a communist capitalist system, but when it comes to efficiency and how things work, a communist capitalist system is a lot more efficient than a democratic capitalist system. Henceforth, what we are attempting to do is to remove democracy more and more so that the capitalist model can work absolutely. But no matter what, the 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 formula that governs the system is unsustainable. And let me give one example with one company. And I don't need to have the numbers, I just need to show you the trajectory. Let's look at a company with Walmart. Walmart every year makes a profit. Let's say that profit is 3%. I'm just calling numbers here, but let's say that profit is 3%. If you look at the valuation of Walmart, what you would see is if you take all the Walmart stocks, multiply that by its value, the total value of that company isn't going to be the sum total of its trucks, the buildings that it owns, whatever inventory it has. That number is far exceeds the tangible assets of Walmart. Stay with me here, folks. This is very important. So again, a stock is a company break up into pieces and sold to a lot of people to own it. That's a stock. Okay? Now, if you add up all the stock of of the vast majority of companies, the value of the stocks far exceeds the value of the company. That's where the stockbroker bring in fantastical numbers like EBITDA, earnings before taxes, and they use all kind of fancy terminologies to create this to keep this casino running. But it's a bit deeper than that. In general, you'll find that on average, the average American company, the valuation of their stock would be 26 times its profit. Okay? And one of the reasons they will give you these magical guys, these will tell you that, well, we are overvaluing a particular stock because we expect growth, 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 not just profit. Walmart could keep running forever with a 3% profit on all its products. People would get paid. A small dividend would be able to be paid to shareholders, and that would be perfectly run. But what the stock market wants is not just profits, it wants growth, meaning they want Walmart every year to buy a few more Walmarts, grow a little bit more, and that gives them an increased value of their stock. Okay? The face value of their stock increase above and beyond and including beyond the dividend that they receive. That's how the system works. But what that means if Walmart continues to grow, and let's remember this, America is not growing at some humongous population rate. It's a slow, slow growth. But the growth that they want Walmart to grow would actually exceed population, what would be needed for population growth. What that means is that for Walmart to grow, they have to eat somebody. And Walmart has been doing just that. Walmart going to Timbuktu, Texas, Timbuktu, Louisiana, Timbuktu, many other places. And in the process, a leather shop shuts down, a shoe shop shuts down, a place that sells clothes shuts down, place that sell beds shut down because Walmart goes into that place. The people who own Walmart shares, they're happy. Walmart has done what? Walmart has grown. But at what expense? Of probably 10, 20, 30 privately owned companies wherever it goes in these small towns that it goes into. So we get a few, it's a way of taking away the wealth of the few, of the many, all these other people to go into the coffers of the few, all in the name of growth. Well, there's a finite amount of towns in the United States. There are a finite amount of people growing steadily, but finite at any given time in America, which means for them to continue growing, to give the stock prices a constantly increase. People say, let my money work for me. They put it in the stock market and they expect a 7% return in the aggregate. Well, remember, if your population is not growing at 7%, if the average wages are not growing at 7%, but the investor class can receive 7% growth, that means they're taking a bigger piece of the pie. They're taking it away from you. When Walmart goes into a town, it takes away businesses. And just think about Walmart. This applies to Target. This applies to every big corporation looking for growth. It has to eat everybody else. That's what it has to do. And that's why when we talk about being at end state capitalism right now, that means that we are running out of people to take advantage of. There was a time in this country where we constantly took advantage of more human beings, more and more and more, right? We started out with slavery. Well, we started out with the genocide against the Indians, and that way you acquired all your land, right? We then had slavery because we weren't yet as mechanized as we are today. We didn't have the productivity that we had. So we enslaved some humans to increase our productivity to be able to take care of these lands that we got. And by the way, this is not anything on human beings. This is on the system. All of this is a part of this capitalist system. That's how it works. We are based on the labor of others. Everybody that's listening to me right now, whether you're a secretary, you're sweeping floors, you're a janitor, you're an engineer, the capitalist system is making money on your back. In other words, you are doing stuff and getting paid for it, but a bigger part of that pay, or a large part of that pay, that the profit that you create is going to a select few. So we have to understand how this concept works before I get into what NOAA did, what they're doing, how they're constantly eating more. So after slavery, we still and mechanization that allowed, if you have a cotton gin, right, you no longer need a whole bunch of people to go pick cotton, right? Because the machine is a lot more efficient than the person. So why go ahead and pay for healthcare, pay for clothes, pay for all these things for a slave? You no longer need that. So when people talk about slavery ended, slavery only ended because we got good mechanization, and we were no longer needed all of these free labor. Do you think the North, who depends on a lot of the cotton from the South, was going to let slavery end if it would have hurt the businessmen in New York? They'll never let it end. Slavery outlived its usefulness, okay? Especially since we can have a new kind of slave called the employee. The employee is a perfect slave because they don't even know they are, right? You have people calling in here onto my program and cussing me out. You are a communist. No, I'm not. I'm a free enterpriser. I'm not a capitalist. I'm a free enterpriser. I believe in business, but I also believe in the commons. Now, so we are at this stage now where we have they're a group we can always take if we can separate people into the other. In other words, if we can let you hate somebody in the aggregate for some reason, if I can get you to hate a hell of a lot of immigrants, if I can get you to hate a whole lot of black people, if I can get you to hate a whole lot of brown people, because right now we have a white majority, right? So if I can get the white majority to, and I'm tying racism into capitalism this way, if I can get you to hate all these people, then my economic system can malign these people for the profit of a few. I don't have to yet hit my white base, right? Because it is okay to hurt the black dudes. It's okay to hurt the brown dudes. It's okay to hurt the indigenous dudes. Because after all, deep in our minds, we see them as the other. Even the immigrant, we see them as the other. So we can take advantage of these folks in the aggregate. And notice I'm saying in the aggregate because some smart aleck is going to call me and say, "What about Oprah? What about What about all these billion?" Those are great capitalists, right? And they have a purpose of being, just so that I can get that caller that says, "What about Oprah?" Now, the reality is this, though. Eventually, because the brown people, the black people, the immigrants, etc., eventually, you run out of those folks, right? And you know who has to pay the price now? My white brothers and sisters. Appalachia has always paid the price, but nobody paid attention to them. You could hide them up in the hills of that runs all the way down from Pennsylvania right into Mississippi. You could hide those folks, all in the Ozarks. Hide them. They're not on TV. The poor people you see on TV are those people that you have a false impression that these are the people that are the most dependent in America. So you can hide them. But eventually you run out of those folks as well. Those people are the underclass. They've been taken advantage of. They dug your coal. They got your black lung disease. They got all these things. They were maimed, but nobody sees them, right? They're not in the major media markets, or nobody wants them to be in the major media markets. And why is that? Because a lot of folks would have a kinful feeling with them. So you keep them out. But guess what? In end state capitalism, what happens? We have to come for you now. We don't have anywhere else to go. We got to come to you. So now, when we look at income and wealth inequality and where it's going, the rest, remember I tell you about growth. We started the conversation with growth. For all these corporations to grow, they have to eat the little, because the entire country is not growing as fast as corporations need to grow to have the stock prices go up. So now you are in their crosshairs. And when they are taking advantage of you, I'm talking about my white brothers and sisters now. They don't want you to know that it's the capitalist system that enriches the few that causes you to pay more for what you're paying for, to make less than you deserve, etc. So they create these stories. They give you examples of a few of the others that are taking advantage of the system, and plaster that onto all the others, get you pissed off, and we get the MAGA base, and we get the Tea Party, and we get folks that are working against their own interests because they believe that if they allow things to happen, those other people will continue their abuse. Non existent in the aggregate, but that's what it's all about. It's all about continuously eating more people to keep the beast fed. Now, the Jack started the program with NOAA. Okay, Trump's NOAA will stop tracking costliest storms, and it kind of looks like all Trump is doing is trying to make the people less informed, more dumb, more stupid. That's not what it's all about. And even if you read the article, that is kind of what they would want you to believe. Let me start out. It says, on the heels of the news that higher than average temperatures continued globally in April, one of the United States' top science agencies announced Thursday that it will no longer update a database that tracks climate disasters that tracks billions of dollars in damage. As of Thursday, the $1 billion weather and climate disaster database on the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration website was replaced with a message saying there have been no such events in 2025 through April 8, which is a lie. You have all the tornadoes. You have even Arkansas's a Republican governor who worked for Trump asking for relief for their state, and Trump said, no, you're getting no FEMA dollars. That flies in the face of an analysis by the Centers for Environmental Information, which has maintained the database and said that $6 to $8 billion climate disasters have happened so far. $8 billion or more climate disasters have happened thus far. So we know that this is happening. But why would Trump stop monitoring all these things? People would say, he wants to keep people dumb. He doesn't want people to know that climate change is really occurring, etc., etc. On the surface, that may be partially true. But here's the thing. You ever heard of something called an insurance company? I want all of you that are listening to me, add up all of the different insurances you pay. Healthcare, car, home. You may have some for an umbrella, all of that. Add up all the different insurances you have and see what percentage of your salary all those insurances are going to add up to. You will be shocked. Insurance companies don't play. Insurance company needs that data. They need to know that catastrophes are on the rise, which they know. That's why your home insurance rates and your auto insurance rates are what they are today. All those floods that you find in Houston and everywhere else where all these cars are underwater, insurance companies know that more of those events are occurring, so they need that data. And by the way, yes, they correlate their own research departments who do the research that the government is already doing. They do that research. They corroborate their information with government data. But now, what happens? The government says, I am not doing that anymore. I'm not keeping these databases anymore. And the insurance companies clap their hands and they say, amen. Two things that does for us. It means that all those college professors that are creating these models that talk about climate change, etc., that got their data free of charge from the government because we, the taxpayers, want to keep this information, and researchers can get this information at will so that they can model where things are going, no longer can get that data from the United States government. But guess what? We do know, people. We do know that data will continue to be collected because insurance companies need these data to do forensics on. They need this data so they can also do what it's called, so they can know how much to charge you, right? They need to know how long you're going to live, when you're going to die. Insurance companies know all of that. When they give you life insurance, they know that if you have these particular characteristics, you're likely to live to 78. You're likely to live to 50. They know that in certain communities, you're likely to live to 60. Insurance companies have all that data, and the government does as well. Now, researchers at universities and agencies can get that data from the government. I can get that data from the government. You can get that data from the government and do your own analysis. Trump is saying no longer is that the case with weather. Now, anybody who wants that data, they can go to an insurance companies and say, hey guys, I would like to buy this data from you, a new income stream for that insurance company. Data that was readily available by the government, no longer available. And now all the different companies that would do, universities, etc., that would do research on climate change and all these things will now have to buy the data. It's all about privatization of everything. That's why Donald Trump, via Doge and Musk, went through the entire government to shut down agencies because they want to make sure that these things are still going to get done, but now by the private sector at a premium price. End state capitalism. You have to find new sources of growth. And Donald Trump, unabashedly, is finding new sources of growth in the government and everywhere else. And you know who pays the price? We do. You do. So you keep believing the crap that they constantly tell you, including what the mainstream media allows them to pollute the air with on TV. And you don't look behind the scenes. And we all pay the price. Now, if you have any specific questions, please feel free. 713 526 5738. Again, that number is 713 526 5738. Come on in, Lester.
Yeah, man. God bless Donald Trump. Hey, Egberto, you know who you remind me of? The other day I told you remind me of my parents, but you remind me of this documentary I looked at years ago. It was this black city council person. He was the only black on the city council. And every day he would be fighting for the rights of the poor, especially poor black people, every day, because they was getting discriminated against. But at the end of the day, he would have to catch the L train to get home. And when he would try to get home, all day long, the main people who he'd be fighting for them to have equal rights, for them to have a fair share, those was the people that was trying to rob him and jack him. Mm-hmm. So my point to you, my friend, most people of color that I know, they doing well in this country because of they've educated themselves. See, I'm gonna tell you what I used to tell that long-winded Michael Harris years ago. This radio station is the preaching to the choir crowd. We get it. But the main people who need to hear what you saying, and the people don't listen to no KPFT, they out here getting ready to go to the club tonight. They getting ready to go use their food stamp and stuff. They getting ready to go jack somebody. So all I'm saying, man, the only people that's struggling out here is the uneducated. When the last time you missed a meal, Alberto? You take care of yourself. You're a good guy. Most black people and brown people that I know are educated. they do the right thing. So the riffraff that Donald Trump is talking about getting rid of, these criminals who just constantly in and out the system, get them out of here, man, because they don't care about nothing what you saying, and you fighting for
Lester,
them, and they laughing
Lester.
at you.
Okay,
I
Lester,
can't.
let me just
deal
say
with
this.
roaches in my house.
Lester,
Yeah,
let me just say this, okay? This is important.
yeah.
I respect
Hey,
everybody.
Johnny.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I think I gave you a lot of time to talk, brother. I respect you, but here's the thing about it. Believe it or not, in some of the truth that you just said there, a lot of the people that should be hearing this are not hearing it. They're out to the club, or they're the guys who, when this guy's going home, they're jacking him. Let me tell you what it takes for people to, what's important. I don't look at what people do today. That is what capitalists do. That is what some of our evangelicals do, etc. Let me tell you what I look at. I look at what the genesis of the problem is. What caused the problem? You see, if I just look at what's happening, I can take a stance that you just took. Yeah, the people that are gonna be, it's not the black folks that are gonna jack you, it's the poor folks and the uneducated in the aggregate that's gonna jack you physically. But the people that are jacking you the most are the ones that are sitting down in the towers in Houston, Texas, in Chicago, etc. They're the biggest thieves out there. But you see, we have been programmed to look at that petty thief that go into a 7-Eleven and take a cigarette, or that hit you on top of your head to take your wallet. We look at them as the real thugs and thieves in this society. The real thugs and thieves of this society are those guys in three-piece suits living on top of these towers that cause the death not of one or two or three people. That insurance agent who deny the insurance health care of 1,000 people a day, he has killed more people than anybody jacking you on the L. And that is where I am trying to reprogram folks' mind. Now, you said something that really touches me, that is something that I'm working at very hard. And you are so right about it. When you go out there and say a lot of people that need to be listening to what I'm saying aren't the ones listening, they may be out in the club or doing XYZ. You are so right. And what am I doing about that, Lester? I know that. And I'm trying to reach many other avenues. Uh, Talking here in KPFT is my lowest listener base. Okay? Let me qualify that. The amount of folks that hear this message on air is the smallest base here at KPFT. And that applies to any radio station. But we are not just at KPFT. The Politics Done Right domain is not just at KPFT. We are in every avenue trying to reach as many people as possible, whether it be the internet, emails, articles, books, everywhere. I may not get to all, but I'll get to enough, and the enough that I get to can actually promote otherwise. So I have a message for you, though, my dear brother Lester. Uh, Open your channels of information, and try not to come to what I say from a point of view that says, those others out there. Try to see things with one other additional level of indirection. Care a little bit more about that thug that you think you shouldn't care about. And I'm talking about the petty thief. Because the biggest petty thief out there isn't that thug that's going to hit you upside your head in the streets when you're trying to go home. It's the guy wearing a three-piece suit
And with this.
up into the tower. I got to go now, Lester, because I got my stuff are filling up. But listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, and not just going from the gut. Let's go, Donald. Come on in, brother.
House. The yellow man lives in the yellow house, and the blue man lives in the blue house. Who lives in the White House?
Donald Trump.
That'd be the orange man. So we do
Yeah.
see color. We try to see color. Okay.
Hey, look, let me tell you something,
Now,
okay? When you said that, right? I thought when you said the blue men live in blue house, I thought you wanted me to say, and the white man lives in the White House, right? And I said, I'm not gonna let Donald take me there, because I know you're a mischievous kind of a guy.
Okay, now you remind me. See, this is what sucks. Is somebody as black as the ace of spades that thinks just like I do, and that really gets under my craw because I know you didn't talk like this at the university because I tried it. Because the Industrial Revolution put the end to slavery. And ask Tom Joad how he likes The Grapes of Wrath by Steinbeck.
There
And
you
you
go.
will
Hey,
see 100 years, we are right back to the same damn thing we were back in 1929. We are going right there. It is on the verge of it. And
Donald,
Walmart is
Donald,
the government. Oh,
Don, Donald, what you scare the hell out of me. I mean, you're such a complicated dude, and you're such a smart dude. That's all I'm gonna tell you. I gotta go, but that's all I'm gonna tell you, brother.
no, no,
You're
no.
a comp.
Walmart is subsidized by the government because
I
they
know.
give their workers food
I
stamps and
know.
everything else. They're all in the system. That's
Hey,
the problem, and people
didn't
don't
I
want to
just
see it.
didn't I just tell you that you're a smart dude? You just pointed out a very important thing, Donald. Donald, hang up this phone. You're too damn smart. No, I'm playing with you, man. Look,
Later.
that is so true. You have a good one, brother. All right, let's go to Patrick. Come on in,
You
Patrick.
do.
It's not why I called, but I could easily argue that the Industrial Revolution supercharged slavery. But I'll leave that for another call. I wanted to thank you about the Walmart and big box store perspective, and I wanted to highlight or put a magnifying glass over something. This is what stopped the growth of small towns. And
Mm-hmm.
we talk about the transfer of wealth from the middle class to the super upper class. But what these big box stores do too is they transfer wealth out of small towns into the stock market, and this is what's closing down businesses. This is why there's no Main Street anymore. And so we used to have a system where you had multiple owners doing what one stock, I guess you could say, does now. And so you had all that money exchanging in small areas instead of being
Yes.
transferred to other continents or other states. And that's where the Waltons really got a lot of their money, was they were essentially stealing from small towns and shutting them down. They don't grow
Yeah.
anymore. And in fact, there's other billionaires that have erased small towns and
Yes.
put up centers and put up distribution centers. I just wanted to point that out. Everything you said was right, but I don't think that I think that part deserved a little more emphasis.
I agree. Look, that's why we have a lot of folks that call in like you do to kind of enhance and add to the message, because it's so important. People have a problem seeing this because they just can't believe that everything they learned in school, Patrick, was really an indoctrinative message to keep them. There are some people who would tell you that that school just create people to be servants, right? Whatever kind of servants that they create what they need at any given time. And that's the ideology. The reason why they're getting rid of the books, the reason why they don't want all this history taught. And I mean, Donald surprised me because Donald gets it too, right? And I'm sitting down there and like, oh my God, the success story of Walmart is directly proportional to the damage being done to the small towns, to the poor, to the middle class. But it's so hard to see because when you're running antiseptic slavery, things are easy to hide. Anyway, what else you got, Patrick?
Well, we'll touch on the supercharging slavery, I guess, because the Industrial Revolution allowed us to export slavery.
Let me qualify something. Okay, I want to qualify that because I don't think we are necessarily in disagreement. Think about this. What did I say? I said that, at first the kind of slavery was the kind of slavery that you could look at the other, and because you've dehumanized the other, it's okay for them to be just slave. But you need more than just these others. So what you get now is still slavery, but it's antiseptic slavery. So I don't think that is in it, I think that comports with exactly what you say, that as we get more commerce, more exports, all of that, and that wherever you need more people, of course, mechanization is going to sort of is in conflict with that as well. But as you have more things that capitalism has to do, then you have to have more slaves. The slaves just don't look like they did before, or don't operate like they did before. So that would be my trying to find that middle ground with your comment about extending slavery.
Yeah, that was directed towards Donald. And one other thing, since we did move over to these big box systems and everything, and since you think of a boss as being somebody that's more regional, or somebody that you might never even meet.
Right.
When you don't open the door every day when you don't open the store every day for your employees, and you don't talk to them, and you don't know about their family or things, it makes it much easier to hurt them, and it makes it much easier to lay them off when you.
Right.
And so these large box stores make unemployment a kind of a self-feeding loop. And I'll leave it
there.
At
You
that.
go. Thank you very much, Patrick. As usual, very smart commentary. You have a wonderful day. See you at 3. Let's go to Coach Cam. Coach Cam, come on in. Coach Cam, you're on. Coach Cam, 10. Let's see. Coach Cam, are you there? All right, let's put Coach Cam on hold and go to Augie.
Hey.
Oh, okay, he's here. Okay, Coach, talk to me.
Hey, top of the morning.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Fantastic. Dropping kids off early in the morning, but life is good.
Good. Talk to me. What's your commentary, my dear brother?
Well, we had a pretty interesting go at it last night at the Tejano Dems meeting. Whitmire was their guest speaker. I don't know. I feel like I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Whitmire. He's a savvy fox. I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. You're not on a 50-year winning streak, and don't pick up tools of the trade, right? So I listened to this. I think somebody would call it unhinged, incoherent speech, stump speech. But what I heard was every proactive defense around things that he is doing poorly or is receiving critique and criticism around. So I actually followed. It was a long, winding story, but I followed his stump quite well. But I also, you got to give a fox his credit, right? He was there. He was slotted to be there for 45 minutes, and he gave, a 30-minute speech, right?
Wow.
So played box into 15 minutes of Q&A, right? Which again, I get it, right? That is the long tooth boxer using all the tricks of the ring, right? So
let me ask you one question, because I have to jump to some other callers because I'm running out of time. But let me ask you something specific. Did he address that he attended the Dan Crenshaw fundraiser?
So the question did get asked, and so he preemptively attempted to address it, to put a Band-Aid on it, which didn't land at all. But he did attempt to address it, and he went the direction I thought it would go. This is bipartisanship, this is deal making. Without he can be condescending. I give him his credit. He wasn't, but more of hey, sit back on the sideline, kid. This is how it goes in the bigs, right?
Well,
and yeah.
Let me just say this, Coach. I got to go, but let me just point to the people who still think that this guy has their interest. Ask the next time the mayor is anywhere, ask him where his attempt to reach the Republican Congress and Republican legislature has brought anything to Houston. Look at the laws that are being passed in the legislature, and please tell me when. Hey, Coach, I got to go. But, thank you so kindly for calling in. Keep calling in, man, and give us updates when you've got it, okay?
Yeah, let's go. Johnny Redcoat movement lives on.
Thank you, brother. Peace. Let's go to Tom. Come on in, Tom.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, is this Tom Zarnik from Michigan?
Yes, it is. I don't have a poem for you today, but I wanted to say something. I know you're getting short on time, but we can talk about this a little later. This new American Pope, Pope Leo the 14th. I think you'd be very interested in him because they've been talking about the fact that he's like successor to Francis, but I think he's really a successor to Pope Leo the 13th, who was a real champion of worker rights back in the late 1800s. And he was one that promoted unions and a living wage and the social safety net. He really was for social justice and worker rights. And I think that the reason this new Pope chose that name, Leo, is because he is going to promote that, and we ought to be watching him and actually echoing whatever he says, because it's going to be an interesting time. Although Leo the 13th was against communism, but the point was he wanted private property, but he also, and if you read the quotes from the encyclical, it's called Rerum Novarum. It's very important to the Catholic Church. And if you read the quotes from it, it sounds like something a Democrat would say today, or a progressive, because it's very much about worker rights and protecting people and giving a fair wage for everybody and help the working poor. So
Tom, if you're listening at 3, call in with that again for the audience at 3, because I did read some of that thus far. I didn't cover it this morning, but thank you for bringing that in. If you're on at 3, you have the time to be on at 3. Call in and tell us a little bit more about what you found out, please. I appreciate that.
Okay, we'll try.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you, brother. Peace. All right, let's go to Brother Augie. Come on in, Augie.
Good morning. Well, when you start talking about FEMA, I thought about Trump's first appointment to head FEMA. He said that the FEMA workers were great workers. They cared for the American people and the country. And so the next day he got fired by Trump, and Trump picked somebody else. What he said. And I don't understand why about what is Homeland Security woman. And we have these commercials on TV all the time, and I guess taxpayers are paying for it, talking about the immigrants.
Yeah, they are.
He said, God bless Trump, and then he offered prayers. And prayers, that's all that the Republican politicians have to offer when disasters come and shooting accidents and school children get killed. Well, we offer you prayers. And then they call themselves Christians. Lester called himself a Christian, but he doesn't read the Bible, it looks like. In the New Testament, Jesus said, words are nice, but we want action. I don't see any action from Lester. All I see is prayers like in the Republican politicians.
LBW just agreed with you. She said those Noam commercials make me sick. Guys inside of the Substack chat, sorry that a lot of activity that's in the Substack. You guys keep talking to each other. I do read these messages just to let you know. And likewise in the chat, thank you guys for all the messages and the interplay that you have in the chat. Very important for us to have it all over. Continue, Augie. I need to go to Jimmy though.
Yeah.
Real quick. Finish up for me.
You're talking about Walmart. For years, China tried to get a distributor in the United States and couldn't find one. Not until Walton of Walmart went over to China and said, we'll be your main distributor in the United States.
There you go.
And so Walmart also started expanding. And I read a book called Deer Hunting with Jesus. The author lived in this little town where Patsy Cline, the country western singer, grew up. Mm-hmm. And the locals hated Patsy Cline because she was on the wrong side of the tracks. So even when she became famous, they still disparaged her. But this guy was a writer, and he became wealthy. So he decided to come back to this little town and see what happened to his high school buddies. He had a house in California and a house in South America. So he went and visited his high school buddies, and Walmart had come in there. They used to have hardware stores, flower stores, grocery stores where they could get jobs. Now, his buddies, the only job they could get was working at Walmart.
There you go.
They were hoping to get a job at Walmart, and they were poor. And the reason he called it Deer Hunting with Jesus is these guys call themselves Christians, and just like Lester, but then it was deer hunting because they couldn't afford a job. So to feed their families, they had to be deer hunters. But they still follow the Republican path.
I got to go. Augie, I really, really have to go. But here's the deal. I get the message, and keep that message, because we have to. That is what we got to cauterize. Thank you, my brother. Let's go to Jimmy, because I'm out of time. Jimmy, come on in real quick. Don't have a lot of time.
Egberto, I'm going to disagree with you somewhat today. Slavery ended in the Civil War. We do not have slaves today. Workers can have many choices about where they want to work. Walmart came in with lower prices and more choices. That's where the customer's going to go, where he gets the most for his money. And so the little businesses that couldn't compete because they weren't not as efficient as Walmart. And then it comes along Amazon. That's a new business that delivers everything to your home.
Jimmy, I mean, first of all, what you're saying technically is correct. What's behind the scenes is what I'd like to talk about, but I don't have the time right now. So I want to ask you a favor. On Monday, let's talk. I want to, I mean, I know you personally. I know your values. I would love for us to have a civil conversation on this on air, so that because that is a message that the plutocracy, that message that you have, that you just said, the plutocracy loves that message. I would like to go with you civilly, point for point on that on air, because a lot of people believe that, and you will be helpful in helping me relay that message. So let's do this another day, okay?
One of the biggest reasons for our success also is education. When people are educated,
that's what we need to talk
they-
about. Brother Jimmy, that's what we're going to include in that conversation. Let's do this Monday if we can get it done, or any day. I'd like to do it in detail, because what you're doing is the message I said they put out there. But thank you, brother. I got to go. Let's go to Bruce. Come on in, Bruce.
Good morning, Alberto. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm going to give my time up. You're short on time. I'll call next week. Have a good day. Bye.
Okay. Oh, wow. I was giving you your minute, but thank you. Bruce, you got a minute. I mean, you do have a minute.
Okay. Kudos for you and Patrick talking about Walmart. Trump's talking about taxing the people making $2.5 million. The billionaires are raising hell about that. They're going to force him to pivot back to attacking Medicaid and Medicare. And also last week you had a caller that had frogs in the road. We had the same thing. We had frogs all over the road here in my neighborhood. I had an easy answer. They're frogs, right? So
Yes.
They were towed. Bye.
I knew you were going to have one of those. Thank you very much, Bruce. You have a wonderful day. Brian, come on in, my brother.
Yes, good morning. I hope everyone has a good weekend.
Me too.
So,
go ahead.
So why are you so dead set about brainwashing people due to collectivism versus capitalism and free trade? Would you consider McInville?
Okay, first of all, I believe in
Jim McInville a big box store?
I believe in free trade, first of all, and I believe in free enterprise. But I also believe that those who earn, those who do the work, should get paid for the work they did. I also believe that things that people invent should be theirs. I believe in all those things. I'm a free enterpriser. But capitalism is something that works on the back of others. And that's, if you listen to what Jimmy, I love that my brother Jimmy just called and said he disagreed with me on these particular issues, because he had several good points that the folks talk about, and I wanted to address those points, which it's clear that I didn't do it as clear as I should. I want to address each one of those things that he said, as because he put it in a logical way that I can address. Now, in your case, again, I would do the same thing. I'm not going to be a straw man here. I believe in free enterprise. I believe you should be able to own your own business. I believe all of that. But I also believe that we shouldn't have a system that cannibalizes the others with our own intellect. Go ahead.
Okay, so I got to go to one other subject. Would you consider Jim McInville a big box store?
No, look, before Jim back. You asked me a question and I was about to answer you. Do you want an answer or you don't? Which one?
No, I
Do
need
you
to
want
go
an
on a different
answer?
subject. I know your
Or,
answer. No, I
no,
don't.
you don't.
You just
No, you don't.
anymore.
You don't know my answer. Jim McIlvaine is not a big. So I respect what Bailey. In fact, I respect what he does. The way he does it. I don't like his politics, but he is a free enterpriser. Continue.
Okay, that was the answer. The city of Houston would not be in such a financial dire straits had Sylvester Turner did what the people asked him to do, which is pay off the firefighters, give them a raise. He denied it, correct? And how much
He
did
was.
he have to pay? Not
Wait,
he.
hold on. No, no, no,
He's
no,
a
no. He's wrong. Look, I don't. I
25
am not.
million.
Look, hold on. I'm not going to disagree when politicians do the wrong thing. It's just that he should have done what the people wanted him to do, but he should have been honest as well. If the people wanted to pay the firefighters more, they should be willing to pay the taxes to pay the firefighters more. If the people want to pay police officers more, they should be willing to pay the taxes to pay police officers more. Right now, we have policies where the people have voted with the MTA to take the money out of the MTA or leave the MTA. That's what the people voted on. Neither Whitmire or any one of them are doing anything about it. The people's voices must be respected. None of our Houston strong. We have a strong mayor system in Houston. None of these mayors do what the people ask them to do, and the reason why is we have people who protect them by lying for them, and which you do as well with the mayor, the particular mayor that you like. So we got to stop that. But by the way, you are right. You are right about Sylvester Turner. He should have listened to the people, paid the firefighters, and then increased the taxes for the firefighter pay that the people said that they wanted. What else?
No, that's it. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you, my friend. Let me pass it on to the studio.
Oh, nothing here. About out of time. So, Jack, you got anything? Jack says no. Take it home,
All right.
Roberto.
All right, folks. The rest of the program, which is a lot more, is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can write me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Love you all. Listen to all your messages. Read all your messages. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening